Hello, I'm Rick Stivers with YoungMartin'sReels, and today we're going to do a preview of coming events. Just as a quick review of the things that I got in the mail today, and we're going to see where we go with this. Alright, first thing, it's going to be this beast. Now, if you've watched my videos, you've seen I've already done one of these. This is the Daiwa Great Lakes 47 line counter, LC, and I have one, and I wanted a second one, and this was the thing that kind of sold me on buying it. In the picture, you couldn't really tell its condition. It just looked like it was okay. It might have gotten a little damage on the way here in the mail, but I don't really think that was a big player. The biggest problem is that this handle was so corroded up that just a light tap in the box snapped it. Alright, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and break it off the rest of the way, I think. Yeah, see, this thing was that corroded. You couldn't see that in the pictures. It is bound up. It will turn, but it doesn't turn easily. What I'm going to have to do, I believe, is to get this C-clip off, pull this nut off. Hopefully that will allow me to remove this handle. At that point, I'm hoping that I'll be able to then turn the star adjuster, and once I've got it that far, I believe I can take it the rest of the way apart without too much trouble. I don't want to take a chance on snapping anything, so I'm going to let this soak. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to soak it in vinegar or something a little more caustic. It's certainly not going to be WD-40 because I don't think that's going to get the job done on this particular one. I may end up shooting a video depending on the condition inside this, but this is I really wanted a second one of these for my trolling setup. I really want to see if I can make this thing run again. Everything on it works. I can't tell if the line counter works, so I haven't got it that far apart, but everything else seems to work. The spool release works. It's tight, but it works. The pawl and the worm gear works. If you turn it, it does move, but the drag, it's frozen. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay, the drag works. So mostly I think it's going to be an issue of contending with the corrosion that's in this handle right here, and I'd like for you to really be able to see how bad that is. That's what we're looking at. But the rest of the reel doesn't seem to have suffered from the same thing. It's almost like it was in a bucket of salt water sitting up like this. So that's the first reel that I pulled out of the box. The second two, we're going to zoom back out, are these two fly reels, and I haven't decided if I'm going to even mess with those. I don't do fly reels. They're not my thing. But in keeping with trying to do all things fishing, I still may go ahead and clean these two up. This one's pretty simple. It's just a wheel with a center hub. This one, on the other hand, is a little different. It's corroded up, but it has a pawl over, or a release over here that's supposed to release a spring inside here, I believe. I'm totally unfamiliar. This one is a J.C. Higgins. Of course, they tell you sold only by Sears. Well, yeah, it's a Sears product, so that's why it's sold only by Sears. I see that we have one of the nuts here, one of the nuts here, one of the nuts here, but there's no nut on this one or this one. And I think I'm going to give this thing a try just to take it apart. I'm not sure I'll shoot a video on it. If I do, it will be rather short, I think. But I'll see if I can't get this one up and running. If anybody sees anything they particularly want to see, please leave a comment. If we're going to move it to the head of the line, that's fine. I've already done one of these. This is the Daiwa 7290. I've already done a video on this. This one is actually fairly tight. The other one I had a fairly loose head. This one's pretty good. The bail does not work at all. Oh, there it goes. It doesn't release on its own, let's put it that way. But it's very tight. This one I'll take down, tear it apart, and redo it, but I don't believe I'll shoot a video on this one. I think I'm really tempted. I've never done one before, but I'm really tempted to sand this one on down, or sandblast it, because it's got a lot of saltwater corrosion in it. And go ahead and sandblast this one down and repaint it. Now, I think that might be my first attempt into the repaint. It's not going to be trying to do a restoration, but it'd be nice to make it a functional, pretty reel again, so that and some kid out there might like to be able to fish with it and not be embarrassed having to show their friend, oh yeah, look at that ugly thing I got. So I'm thinking I might do that, and I might do it in some nice kid's color. It's a good reel. It winds okay. Got everything. I think this is just lubrication and grit is all that's going on with that. But the biggest problem it has is the corrosion that it has from salt water along the base, the body. This reel, I don't know that I'll do a video on it. I don't know who it's made by. It's an unnamed reel. It functions. It doesn't function well, but it does function. I don't believe it's a Zebco product. I think it's more of a probably Johnson product, but I'm not sure. If anybody out there knows, let me know. It functions. It just needs a good lube, and that's going off to some kid. And we've got this Zebco Z22, and it is completely frozen. It does not move at all. It is bound. Oh, wait a minute. I'm afraid I'm going to break something. I did get it to move slightly, which is a good sign. That means something in there is moving, and we'll take this one apart. This one I'm going to do for the Zebco Collectors group. That we'll have a little bit of fun with that. Next one is this guy. I've never seen one of these before. It's a Norseman, and man, is this thing heavy. That feels like a 3-pound fishing reel. It is a beast. It is made in Sweden, and it is, even though you can tell it's bound up with grease, it is still smooth. The handle's slightly bent. You can feel it when you rotate it around. This has probably taken a fall, probably fell on it, which slightly tweaked the handle. I can straighten that up. This thing is an absolute beast. It's got this clicker over here for removing the handle. Everything about this thing seems to be pretty well quality. This, instead of being plastic, is actually made out of a white rubber, and this piece is rubber. And neither of them, as old as this reel is, seem to be deteriorated. So this one's going to be fun to do. For those over on the Johnson Collectors group, I picked up this Johnson Tangle Free 10. It works, but it doesn't work well. It takes 10 or 15 winds to release the pawl on the retrieve, and but it should be fun to do. The drag seems to operate. Everything on it seems to work okay. It's just completely bound up, and we're going to take that one apart and redo it. This one here, I don't know who it's made by. If somebody out there recognizes it, let me know. It doesn't appear to be one that I've done, but I'll tell you this, without a handle, look at how smooth this reel operates. As old as it is, and as long as it's been covered in dirt and everything else, and just a small tweak of the drive gear, and this thing is spinning. It's a really nice quality reel, whoever it's made by. I think I might do some research and see if I can track it down. It's missing the label, but I like this. It's a nice reel. And again, if any of you out there are the one that I beat out on this eBay bid, I'm sorry, but I will tell you this, very few of these reels do I plan to keep. So if there's something particular you are looking for that you would like to get, let me know. Here we have a Mitchell 300. I'm not planning to do this one, but again, this is one I might do for, you know what, I've got too many of these. I think I'm going to probably break this one down for parts. The spool doesn't release because the spring in here is broken, so it doesn't release the spool over. If you flip it over, it actually moves fairly free, but there's no spring in there. And if it is in there, it's not doing anything. But it's not a bad reel. It's just kind of corroded up. The handle's in good shape. The other parts on it are in good shape, but it's eat up with saltwater corrosion. I've got the parts. I could put this one back into use, but I think I'll not. And I'm certainly not going to shoot a video on it. Next in the line was this guy. This was a Shakespeare push-button Wondercast 1771. And to be perfectly honest, I was hoping that this was going to be the reel that gave me the parts I needed for this one. I have this Shakespeare dual drag push button Wondercast $17.99, and I was hoping this one's missing. It needed a handle, and this one has a good handle, and it was missing the cap, and the caps do not fit, so they're not the same. It's not a good fit for it, so I'll keep looking for the cap for this Wondercast. And in the meantime, this Shakespeare reel, the 1771, is in really good shape. It's a lot lighter than this reel is, and it seems to be in excellent condition. The paint's in nice shape. It's not been battered around. It functions perfectly, except it's really tight. When I first got it, I thought it was physically broken inside because someone had loosened the drag all the way around, all the way down, and so when you turned the handle, nothing happened. It wouldn't turn the spool or anything. So I was like, oh, this thing is broken. Well, no, it wasn't broken. Somebody had just loosened the drag all the way up. Tighten it down. There you go. She's running again. This one's going to be fun to take apart. I've never done one of these. All right, next is this Sport Fisher 200. And this one, I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. It's got a broken foot. And but there's still enough of the foot left probably to mount it to a rod, but I don't know that it's worth the trouble. It's a very low budget reel. If somebody wants to see that, I might do a demise of by taking it apart. It's pretty corroded inside, but at least you could see what's going on with it, how it was made. Like I said, this is a low budget reel, and the handle's loose on it. Let's see if this might be nope, it's not a donor reel for my other one. I've got a reel up there that I'm looking for a donor reel for, and again, it's a low budget reel also, but it's got a super tiny shaft right here, and I'm looking for a handle for it. It came in a batch set. Alright, one of my favorites in the batch, and this is one I might end up keeping, is this Zebco Cardinal, and I absolutely love this reel. Everything on this reel operates like it's brand new. Now the reel is very old. It's got a lot of tarnish. You guys in the Zebco collector realm, if you know what year this thing was produced, please let me know. To me, it looks like it was late 50s, early 60s maybe. But man, this thing is sweet. It's very well made. The drag on it still works. I've already checked that out. The anti-reverse on it works. So the bail on it flips. It's tight, but the bail flips, and that's usually just a sign that it needs to be lubricated. Boy, this thing's kind of kid-proof too, because the screw, well, I bet that's not original. Okay, so the screw that somebody put in this bail here is a Allen head screw, and that's probably one that somebody put in later. So I'm guessing I need to find the right screw for that to finish the restoration on this. But this one came in the box, and it was like that. And at first glance I thought, oh no, it's broken, but it's not. It just needs the handle tightened down. And it is a very, very sweet reel. I want to fix this one up and take it fishing. And I'm not sure I'm going to let that one go, but if somebody out there really needs one, maybe so. But that's the one I'll definitely do a video on, especially for the Zebco collector folks. This Ryobi Gx20. You know, I have, well, I think this one's about worn out. I'll pause for a second. Okay, we've got this Ryobi Gx20. And it really does feel like the gears are completely worn out inside it. Look at the free play that's in that handle. And that handle's tight. I believe it is. Maybe it's not. Let's see. There's still a lot of free play there. Anyway, I have this reel, and I have this reel. And I've been looking at this thing for a couple of days. I have a box with over 500 handles in it, and I was looking for a replacement handle for this one because it just didn't look right. I don't believe this is the right handle for this reel, and this one may supply exactly what I'm looking for. It may be the same, it may not be, but we will see about that. This one is in really tight condition. It's really nice physically inside, whereas this one, somebody has really fished the heck out of this reel, and I don't believe that it's going to be making it off of the operating table. It does have a quick release handle, which would be really nice to put on that reel, and I think that may be going that direction. I may do the video on this Ryobi SS3, and we may go ahead and retire this Ryobi Gx20 because it really appears to be worn out. The gear train in it is just shot. We'll see. I'll take it apart and inspect it, but I think that one's going to go, and the handle off of it's going to go onto this one because this is not the right handle for this reel. So anyway, I've been looking for that. Next up is this guy, this Shakespeare Skip 15, and it's tight. It's very tight. It's got a lot of old tape on it, or somebody used masking tape on the top of it. Masking tape, folks, does not like to come off after it's been on for a long time. This one does have saltwater damage, which is, or at least some kind of corrosion damage, which is very disappointing, but I think we're going to fix it anyway. I think might scrape away just the places that are bad and touch it up with just a little touch-up paint. I'm not considering a repaint on this at all. Just a touch-up. The rubber on the top of the spool spinner head is good. I believe that we can get this reel up and going again. Again, this is not one I plan to keep. It will be moving on into the return to the world of fishing. All right, then let's start with this guy. This is a Penn Monofill number 25, and it's binding right there. Don't know what's wrong with it. This is with it out of free spool or in free spool mode. When you put it into operating mode, it binds up. Yeah, we're not going to do any more. I don't want to shear off a gear because I'm hoping this is mostly just old grease. This reel actually is in very nice condition, aside from the fact that it's just been old and neglected and it's been sitting. I think I can get this one back up and running again. The other thing is the spool itself seems to be rubbing right up here, and I'm hoping that's due to old grease pushing the spool out of whack. But it's rubbing right along the edge up here. I'm hoping I can get that up and going. But that's the Penn Monofill 25. Like I said, if anybody out there sees anything that they'd like to do, this one I'm going to do for the Penn collectors group. But aside from that, it seems to be in reasonably good shape. Next in that group is going to be this Penn 100. And this is really a pretty reel. I like this. It's the Penn Surfmaster. It's got this guy on the beach out here fishing, casting his line out. Nice reel. It does have some corrosion along here. I will clean this up as best I can. This is not one I plan to keep. But man, it really rotates well. Put it into free spool. It does not free spool. So whether you flip it up, whether you flip it down, it is not releasing inside. So this one's going to have to come apart. We'll go into it, and I believe that the pinion gear is frozen right here, and I think we can fix this and get it up and running again. There is a small chip here on the case, very small. Looks like it was made by something striking against, maybe not, I don't know. But the handles, this handle on the release is a little bent. We'll have to straighten that up. The clicker is functional and very loud, does its job. I'm going to redo this one, as I said, for the Penn group. All right, now, believe it or not, this reel was the second deciding factor on getting this set. And it's a nice reel. This is a Penn 209. And the funny part of this is, when I went through my dad's box of parts when we were cleaning out his estate. I found this part, and I found this part, and I found this part, and I found this part. And these were all laying there in different places, different drawers, and I just collected them up thinking, hey, I think I can probably make some use on those one day on when I'm redoing the pin reels. So I gathered them up and threw them in the bag. Well, the other night I was sitting here going through the bag, and I realized that this guy fit perfectly into here. There we go. And that this guy fit perfectly into here. And that this guy fit nicely into here. And that I had almost a complete Pin 209 fishing reel. The only thing I was missing was the handle, the screws around the outside, the nut, then the cap for the nut, and the little screw that held it in place. Well, those pieces by themselves, if you go out online and try to buy them somewhere, you're paying almost the price of a reel. Well, in came this guy. He's missing the winder assembly. He's missing good chrome along the way. He's got good side plates. But the big thing he's got going for him is he's got a really nice handle, screw, and lockdown screw. And all of the screws around the outside that I need for that reel. Not only that, but it also has the extra reel seat connector. So this guy is going to become the parts donor for this reel. And then these parts I'm going to put out there because I'll be done at that point. I don't know that I'll have any more pin reels to do, especially 209s. And we'll probably be moving these on out and repurposing them for somebody else. But that's the plan for this reel. All right, now I know you thought I was just about done at that point, but I'm not, because I've got some other ones to discuss with you real quickly. Okay, next is this Bronson Pilot 525, and that one is a good solid reel. I think it just needs a good lubrication, and then it's going to go out and enter the world. I've got this Heading 120, which is very tight. I found this one in a estate sale, and it's a fairly solid little reel, but it's a little gritty when you turn it. So we're going to clean that one up. If anybody out there does Heading products, and of course, how can the world be complete without a Zebco 202? I'm planning to do this one for the Zebco Collectors Group, and this one is really tight. You push the button in, it takes it like 10-15 minutes for the button to come back out, and we'll be doing that one. Also, we've got this Daiwa 9300A, which is a very bottom of the line reel. This one, I think I'm going to have to soak it in a bucket of water before we get going with it. It's that dirty, and but it is tight. It's very tight. Not so tight as I'm worried about breaking it, but it's very tight. So that one's on the list. All right, next on the list here is this guy. It's a German-made reel. It's rather interesting. It says model 109, Wasaga, Minnesota. And it come to find, I almost didn't get this reel. This was attached to a very nasty looking old fishing rod. And if you look at this handle, it looks very cheesy, very homemade. And I almost walked away from this just because of that handle. But come to find out, this handle is all original up to this point. Right here, what's happened is somebody has made an extension. They didn't like the shortness of the handle throw, so they made an extension and attached it on here. I'm going to be returning this back to its original But this is a very nice old reel. It's German made, as I said, and it's very similar to the Damn Quick reels. As a matter of fact, I've been told it's very similar to the 110, but I can't think of the name of the company right now because it's not on there. I had to be very careful. I started cleaning off the label plate on this, and it started removing the paint. So I decided that WD-40 was not what I wanted to scrub up the rest of this reel with, and I stopped at that point. So I'm not sure. That's the label info is just painted on, so I'm not sure I'm even going to mess with cleaning that. I think I'm going to leave it there. But very nice reel. I'm going to return it back to normal. Next on the list is this South Bend Spincast 77. This one, there's nothing wrong with this reel. I'm going to take it apart and do a video on it just because there's somebody out there who's going to want me to. It doesn't really seem to need anything except maybe a re-lube. This again is one of those ones that's got this spring load for the handle that seemed to become a fairly popular thing in the 50s and 60s. Something that's probably pretty much gone away today, but it was very popular apparently back then. All right, that's got that. Also for the Zebco folks, I've got this Zebco 700 Hoss, and it's got a dent in the front of it here. I'm going to try to kind of roll that dent out and maybe put some touch-up paint on that, but it's tight. It's very tight. There's doing a little bit of research. There's a group of folks out there who just love the Zebco Hoss. I'm not a big fan of it because it doesn't have a drag. They told you, oh no, with the Zebco Hoss you just have to muscle that fish in. Well, I'm not into muscling. I love the idea of the drag, but that is not going to keep me from redoing this fishing reel for the Zebco folks, and I hope you'll be seeing it out there soon. Next on the list is this Sears Roebuck. Now this is, they moved beyond the J.C. Higgins and actually went to their own name on this reel and just called it a Sears and Roebuck reel. It's pretty grody. It's got a lot of rust. The chrome is missing off of most of it, but it does seem as though it's a functional reel. Once I get all the, but the button doesn't want to do anything. So that's one that's probably a major grease problem. We'll have to tear it apart, and at least it will be attractive when it's done. It's kind of nasty looking inside, but once it's taken apart and cleaned up inside and back to its normal configuration or appearance, we'll be passing that one off to somebody who wants it. One more. Now this company I did not know existed, and for Young Martin's Reels this is a wonderful thing to discover, and that is the Martin Miraclematic 500. This one I plan to keep just for the fact that it's got the Martin name. I did a little bit of research, and aside from the Miraclematics, Martin's made a lot of fly reels, and I never knew that. So, boy, it's a loud reel when you push the button. But it's functional. It needs a lube. It's going to get cleaned up, but this one's going to go into my collection. I'm not going to let it go. One last reel on the collection, and this one I probably plan to keep. Now it does have a broken knob up here, so if anybody, you know anybody out there who has the knob for this reel that would be willing to sell it to me, let me know, because I sure would like to have one, but I'm not going to go buy a whole reel just to steal the knob off of it. This is the Bach Brown Spinster. Okay, and it is made by Eric's, which is a division of the Lionel Train Company. So this thing is sweet. I've never actually used a half bail before, but you flip that out to the half bail position, and then you take it and you cast it, and when you wind it, it flips it back in, it gets a hold of the line. That is a tremendous idea. I don't know how it's actually going to operate. I'm going to be going out fishing with this to see how it functions, but the appearance wise, I like it a lot better than a standard bail. But apparently it doesn't work as well as the whole bail concept. But I'm certainly going to take this one out and fish it, see how it works. The anti-reverse on it is working beautifully. Everything on this reel functions. There's nothing that seems to be out of place on it. I'm going to take it apart and lube it. I will certainly do a video on that one. Again, this is one I probably won't let go of. Most of the rest of these reels are available once all the videos are done, because listen folks, I pick up the reels for the videos. I choose to keep a few, but most of them have got to go. My wife's actually starting to say, hey, what are you doing? And I think I've got 35 reels sitting over to the side right now, ready to go. And each one comes with its own bag. Let me show you real quick. Each individual fishing reel that I get rid of comes with its own bag. I like making the bags. It's kind of fun, and it protects the reel once you're done with it. Okay, when you put it in, and they're big enough that you can actually attach it to a rod. Let me show you. You can attach your reel to a rod, and then slip your bag over it, cinch it down, and now you can put your rod away, and your reel is protected. So and it tells you which reel you've got on that rod, and that way you can easily get it back to where it goes. So when I get rid of my reels, that's the way they're going. Each one's got its own bag. And but anyway, that's mostly to protect them. Anything else, it's fun to make them. I got lots of extra fabric laying around, and I don't mind doing it. I like to protect what's there. It doesn't do me a whole lot of good if I go through and fix up all these reels just to have them lay around and get all nasty again. So now you see what our future brings on Young Martin's Reels. I hope you'll stick around with me. I hope you're interested in seeing what I got to do. And for now, this is Rick Stiver signing out.